stuff going on.
All right, thanks. All right, we are live. Excuse me, let me slide by your chair.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Welcome to the Community Relationship Committee. And the meeting is called to order. And let us read and approve the minutes from July 12, 2021.
Call for motion that the minutes. You didn't ask for a motion yet.
Yeah.
Call for motion that the minutes be received as printed.
Every motion and second that the minute be received and printed may be accepted as it is. And let us move on to the old business.
Can we vote on that?
All in favor by show of hand?
Thank you, guys.
I'll oppose that. Okay, our first old business is discussion of the RE institution. Is there any discussion?
I have none.
Have no discussion. Could we have a motion to move it on to the city council?
So moved.
Have a motion and second that we move the previous adopted recommendation to the city council.
For Ms. McCoy, just to relocate?
Right.
Okay.
Is there any more discussion? Okay, the discussion of the city drive-through tour regarding litter, homelessness, and code ethic issue. Any discussion on that?
Did you say homelessness?
What the deal? What happened? We all, the committee, got on the bus and we toured throughout the city, and we was observing literacy and homelessness and the code enforcement, and we was trying to come up with some ideas and on how to handle the situation, and it's open for discussion now.
Well, I
Was there a
think,
lot of litter? And I don't know if I can be talking.
Yeah, you
back
can.
and forth.
You
Okay.
can.
Am I all right to do it? Was there a lot of litter?
what was the question?
What is there a lot of litter paper?
Litter. Well, what I recall seeing mostly was code enforced violations, and so I don't know if the code enforcement team are overwhelmed or what, but it seems like to me it was mostly in neighborhoods where there was a lot of rental property, and to me that reflects the owner, and I think we have some slumlords in our community, owners, landlords rather, who are not keeping their properties up, and I think that should be code enforcement's responsibility to get the owners to do what they need to do with the properties. And I know some owners got a lot of properties or whatever, but if it's like anything else. If you don't do any maintenance over a long period of time, and and you're allowing people to move in and out of housing, and you're not keeping the housing up, I mean, this is what we get. I mean, this is what we should expect to have in our communities. So that's my appraisal of what I saw. It didn't look the same in communities where there was home ownership. To me, those communities look totally different.
Just to touch on that subject, so we actually ended up going July 26th at 2 p.m. and some of the places that we drove through were Silvertown, East Thomaston, and Barnesville Street. And we also have recently had a code enforcement, property maintenance type, community town hall meeting with a lot of the property owners that own a lot of the rental houses in Thomaston, and I think that went really well, and we're gonna work on the permitting process. And then just a little update, our code enforcement officer actually ended up getting an accident. So and I'm not even sure, Taylor, do you know when he's expected back?
So John Baxter, so he'd been learning from Bobby and coming through the program. So he fell off his roof and he cracked 4 vertebrae in his back.
Wow.
So he is currently at home. He's working on his commercial inspection license. He's trying to stay productive and do stuff, working towards his code enforcement. He has a doctor's appointment, I believe, this first week of October to check in. He's doing physical therapy. He's hoping to get back in at least in the office, because code enforcement is an issue, because our code enforcement officers also handle inspections, building permits, and we have a lot of development and growth going on. City Council did just authorize 2 new code enforcement positions, so that is something that the city is wanting to support. We see that as a major issue, and we are trying to be accountable ourselves because we want to address it as well. But as Oasis said, we did have a meeting with our property owners that held many parcels, say that, to discuss, look, we've got to do better as far as accountability on both sides. Our expectations are going to be increased, and their expectations of us need to be increased as well. But we are working to address it, because there is an issue with slum and blight in this community. There's an issue with substandard housing, and that's something we need to address.
So did you all talk about litter at that particular meeting? Not,
No, so that meeting was going over code enforcement, overgrown grass,
Property
abandoned vehicles,
maintenance.
basic property maintenance, dilapidated structures, you have roofs caving in, you have rotten wood on the facade of the house, roof repair, stuff like that. We definitely want to start hitting that. Litter was not addressed at that meeting, no ma'am.
One thing I can say, just to add on to that meeting had a good turnout as far as property owners, and they very much appreciated the fact that we went more into detail. There was a lot I believe that a number of them had a belief that some of the ordinances were more only city ordinances. In the end, I think what they went out realizing that there's a lot of that is state law. And what we had said in those meetings was that, hey, we're going to have to enforce state law. We want the ordinances there are many ordinances that are there for safety and health reasons, and we're going to require that. But if there's occasional ordinance that they might disagree with, that is purely a city ordinance, we'll be glad to discuss that with them, have them come in, and we want to be reasonable. And I think what Taylor said was true. I think we walked out of that meeting, and they walked out of that meeting feeling like they've been heard, they understand it better, and there's a good relationship between the two. And they both said, man, we ought to do more of that. And so that was good that and then followed that up with the alcohol ordinance. And just I think they were both pleased that, hey, there's some town meetings going on. And so in the end, it's a high priority. Hence what Taylor said, that there were 2 more spaces. There's going to be a building inspector, and then we're going to hire 2 more people. The problem that it's running a little behind now is because we've just got Bobby, who's going to retire at the end of the year. But John, as Taylor said, fell off the roof. Thank the Lord, he wasn't terrifically injured. He did crack some vertebrae, and I talked to him this morning. He's up and he's walking around with a body brace on, and going to see the doctor next Wednesday, I believe, and we'll see where it goes from there. But it is a high emphasis of the city council, because we're willing to fund 2 people to come on to say, hey, we can't do it with just one person. We got to keep moving on and try to divide those jobs up with the building inspector and then the ordinance people that are going out with the door. So I think you can rest assured that there is a higher priority for that, and we hope to begin to clean the town up. And I think the people that own those properties, again, I want to speak on their behalf, that I think that they felt like they were adequately heard and that they want to do what's right too.
And the two code enforcement officers will be under the police department. And the building official will be under Mr. Thompson.
Yes, ma'am.
I would like to see Taylor come up with a program and partner with the churches on the east side, and like say come with some kind of program that we can partner together. There's some great churches there who are ready to go to work. I mean, and they bring the people along. Maybe you can come up with a program or something
So
that
targeting, addressing the neighborhood, addressing, what do you want the program to target? Do you want to target
the problems.
the problems? So just a community, okay, because I mean, I think there's multiple problems, you know, we have workforce problems, we have housing problems, we have home ownership problems, you know, there's multiple problems, so it really depends on what you, at the core, you know, we go back to what you said. I think home ownership is one of the big things we need to prioritize and focus on. You know, that's what I worked on in Louisiana. You know, predominantly African American neighborhoods, majority of those are rental. Why is that? Where does that start? I think that's what we need to address at the core. You know, is it because of a lack of awareness of what the homeownership offers? You know, is it an issue that goes back to financial education, understanding of, you know, how credit scores work and how to purchase a home? Is it an issue where the person doesn't have the education and training to have a job, to have a salary to purchase a home? You know, what's the core issue?
I think that's probably everything you mentioned.
Does the bank belong to low-income people? I mean, how does?
I mean, yeah, there's tons of programs out there, you know. I will say that our community would be very well served by a CHODO, which is a Certified Housing Development Organization. It's basically a contractor that goes out and builds homes, but this contractor wants to prioritize on building, you know, I don't want to say low-income homes, but affordable homes, okay? That $100,000 to $150,000, $175,000 price range that someone that's working at Walmart, you know, can afford. And so with a CHODO is essentially a nonprofit. It has a board. You know, they can apply for federal grants, federal programs. You know, it offers a lot of opportunity. You know, and so we had partnered, when I was in Louisiana, we partnered with a CHODO out of Baton Rouge and had a program in place with our local housing authority to establish like financial coaching sessions, credit education sessions, home ownership training. There's a certified homeownership class that first-time homebuyers have to attend. You know, we had all that rolled into the program. I will say, Miss Tanya at Housing Authority is very interested in working with me and trying to figure out how we can help some of her clients, you know, take that next step. Because I'm thinking about, you know, our public housing. To me, that needs to be a pathway. You know, the issue with public housing is families get into public housing and they stay there. Okay, we really need to address, okay, Ms. Jones has been living in the public housing system for 10 years now, 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, whatever it may be. Ms. Jones, why are you here? Let's really address this issue. Do you need help with understanding your finances? Do you need help with training that gets you a better job? You know, our public housing should be a stepping point for families to step out and take that next step, purchasing a home, renting a home. You know, so if we have homeless population in this community, we should have public housing available for those homeless.
You know, like you say, what you're talking about is a burden. I mean, we just can't keep putting the burden on the government, on the city council, or what. We need to, the private people come together and join hands. And I identified about 11 churches over in Northeast town, and about 3 or 4 of them have a nonprofit.
Really?
I mean, they are nonprofit. So like you said, whatever idea you know you can come in at the city, you know, we kind of work together. I have no idea what I'm talking about.
Yeah, no. Look, the more people we bring to the table, the better chance we have it's always an issue. I mean, community engagement, community collaboration, that's the key. We have to have people on board that want to push this.
So you say, what was the name of the program, Choke?
So it's a CHODO, it's a Certified Housing Development Organization. So like I said, a contractor can establish that. It's essentially like a nonprofit. It has to have a board, but then that CHODO can apply for grant funds. It's like if we did CDBG housing, if we were to apply for federal funding to do new housing, like the housing that's in your district, okay, we could partner with a CHODO, and the CHODO could actually build the homes for us, handle all that grant writing, handle all that processing.
Is that something the city would have to, a program the city would have to approve?
No, ma'am, that's a private individual.
That's a private-
They would apply for that CHODO recognition through the Department of Housing and Urban Development.
If the churches were to come together and bound
Would
together,
establish a CHODO?
establish together, like you said, that could be
Yes.
that could be a vehicle.
And that's honestly, you see a lot of that where I was at in Louisiana. You see a lot of churches that want to serve African American neighborhoods come together and establish that. That's what Mid-City Redevelopment Alliance, which was the group I'd worked with out of Baton Rouge, that's what it stemmed from. And it had been organized for about 25 years, and they were building 5 to 10 homes a year in targeted neighborhoods, taking property that was vacant, taking property that was blighted. They had a home ownership center as well that was actually working people through their program. It was a very well organized, and it turned into a machine of redevelopment and revitalization of neighborhoods. And Thomaston is primed to grow. Like, people need to understand Thomaston's in a very good position right now to grow because of our location, being close to Macon, being close to Columbus, being close to Atlanta. We have a lot of substandard housing, and that's happened over time with the mills closing. 20 years of just being stagnant. Yeah, it happens. But we have a lot of opportunity to take some of these old Milltown homes that just kind of, fell apart and rebuild those and rebuild our housing stock, because there's a lot of people searching for homes in this community right now.
So maybe Reverend McGill, you ought to get with Taylor and see what needs to be done, and I would be willing to work with you on it as well.
Like I said, we would get together and find out what kind of program you got, and then we can get together with the churches and stuff.
One thing I can say, and Taylor alluded to it very much, talked about the path to home ownership. There are some people, I would say, that don't want to own a home. They are content in renting because they don't have to worry about the upkeep of the roof and the upkeep of the yard and all those things. But I think the key to it, as Taylor said, is the path, and what the path is, what builds that path is knowledge. And the knowledge and the education of, here's how you do it. Because I'm a banker and have been a banker for 37 years. What I do want to enable and help is people to have their dreams realized. And if their dream is to own a house, I want them to know the pathway to do that. The last thing I want to happen to those people is to have a house foreclosed on because they didn't understand that they didn't really have enough money to handle certain expenses related to it. So what I say is, because that hurts the soul. If you have a house and it ends up getting foreclosed on, it hurts your soul, and it hurts the fact that you feel like, my dream disappeared. But the key to that is the education and the programs that are available. And we just need to have more education about that. And those who choose to own a home, then there's a path. One of the issues in our town, though, is there's very low inventory, and so the prices are up on those. The question is there a private individual that would come in and say, hey, I want to build some houses, and here's the program to do it to. Education is power, and you got to help people say, who has that dream? Let's talk about the path to get from where you are now to where you want to go to.
And at one time I heard there was an individual that wanted to build houses and allow people to buy them. That's been several years ago that I was told that, but I guess, there may be something that can be looked into to see if that particular individual is still interested. But I do know that's been a few years ago, but there was an individual that was interested in building homes.
Two things that that I believe if we come up with a plan, we can attract people. And if we can come up with the churches come together, through the churches, we can educate people. And like I said, as long as we keep those programs going, and then we can attract middle class people back up to the county and draw jobs in. You know, like you say, it's
I mean, there's jobs everywhere right now. That's the problem. There are a ton of jobs. Nobody wants to, I don't want to say nobody wants to work.
Okay.
Some people don't have the training to do those jobs. And we don't have the best pathways in place to train those people.
You know, and I've heard as it relates to that, and the fact of so many jobs being available. What is the starting pay?
that's it.
And then what other
Middle class
benefits?
job.
Oh, it makes
That's
a
what I've
huge
heard.
difference.
That's
It
not
makes a
so
huge
good.
difference. Look, I spoke with someone who had worked at Standard Textile, and she told me that she took a job in LaGrange simply because the health insurance would work for our local doctors, but Standards wouldn't. Why does Standard, who is one of the top employees in the city limits, why are they providing, it was dental, I don't want to say it was health, it was dental insurance, why are you providing dental insurance that isn't accepted within the city? Like that's an issue that needs to be addressed. I mean, how can you provide jobs for people in this community, you know? Long story short, back to homeownership, generational wealth. That's what homeownership establishes. It establishes generational wealth for families to come, for kids. It inspires those children to see their parents work and actually accomplish something and purchase that home. And a home, you know, you live in a house, but a home that you grow up in and make memories, and then it has those children say, I want to have that same thing. I want to have that same home, you know? And in Thomaston, you can still have a home. This is a hometown. You know, you still know your neighbors. You can still trust people. And that's why people move here, because they're searching for a place where they can call home.
And I hear as far as in some of the apartments, people are paying $700 and $800
Oh, yeah.
a month to live in an apartment.
They do.
So I mean, you know, and that's a house note, maybe it's $800 a month. So maybe if there's a way to get, you know, for us to get the program and move forward with that. And Taylor, and I'll talk to you some more about it.
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
I will.
ma'am.
And then you let me deal as far as.
Any more discussion? Okay, and the one that I really want to discuss is the homelessness. You know, I heard a lot of fairy tales about it, but I've been taking notice. People are showing up on our streets, in our store. I was at one of the Ingle, and one of the guys he wasn't dressed, on a bicycle and run around and, you know, and getting food, and people are walking up and down the street. And I think we need to find some way to define what homeless is and what we can do to help it.
There was a meeting a few weeks ago. I wasn't able to, I didn't attend the meeting, but it was, the meeting was held over here on, what is it? Not across from me, it was on, but further on up, and there's a church that's there. And I think,
Church of Refuge. It's at the church that.
The group's trying to do the horse farm.
You know, city
City of
refuge.
Refuge.
City of
for the
Refuge.
refuge, right, and I think they had the meeting. And like I said, I wasn't able to attend the meeting, and I don't really know what came out of that meeting as it relates to the homelessness.
I don't think anything did.
Did you go, Pastor Ray?
No, I heard about it.
I was there. You know, they basically just addressed the issue because there's been a lot of talk that, you know, they're bringing people in the community, and they denied that they're not bringing people into the community. That all they do there is they offer things for vets and they offer things for children, and they have church.
But it was said that some other folks are bringing people here to Thomaston up. And did they talk about that?
No.
They didn't? But that's something that was said, or I had heard it as it relates, that they're bringing people from other cities or whatever here to Thomaston. So I don't know how true that is.
They said they're not doing that, and until we catch someone, you know, dropping people off, you know. From the city perspective, you know, right now we're working on right of accesses to behind Thomaston Fords. behind Bell, behind Home Depot, and I think behind Jameson Inn over there as well, to go in and tear out if there's any encampments back there. You know, again, that doesn't solve the issue. We do need to kind of figure out how we're going to address the issue. Homelessness is an issue that our community's facing. It's something that we've never faced before, and figuring out how we want to address that, because it's affecting our downtown businesses as well. You know, Rescue Me, they basically took all their stuff off their front porch because they had people sleeping out there, people, you know, hawking loogies at their front door. You know, just it's an issue. But we have to figure out how we can be accountable to address the issue.
Wasn't there something about a rezoning where they wanted to rezone so that they would be able to bring these people?
So no, they wanted to do like a equestrian farm with horse stables, and it's for kids and vets. It has nothing to do with homeless. The only reason that they're tied back to homeless is because they do have a homeless center in the city of Atlanta, City of Refuge, and it's one of the largest homeless centers in the city.
Do you think it came a problem with the location?
As far as what?
Where? If where to put these establishments?
What do you mean?
Nobody has discussed it.
Let's guess.
Yeah, nobody has come up with any. I don't know of anybody that said that that's what they want, that they want to build a place for the homeless. I hadn't heard that.
No, they weren't. They're not trying to build a homeless shelter. And my thing about the homeless shelter is, if you build a homeless shelter, that means you accept homelessness, and that gives people the idea where, hey, come to Thomaston. Thomaston will feed you. They will clothe you. They will house you. That's when you build a homeless shelter. That's what you accept.
I think there were we're sort of confusing two separate issues in a way. The City of Refuge that came, there were programs that they had for veterans and for children, and it was equestrian, part of it was going to be equestrian based. And so they were discussing that issue. Then there was a separate issue regarding homelessness as to how do we end up here, and there had been some question, as Ms. Lakeitha said, of understanding that maybe some people were being brought here, not to the City of Refuge, but to the hospital for treatment. And then when they are released after treatment, where do they go? And I think the thought was some would stay here. I think the truth is we still don't yet know a whole lot about the homeless problem and the depth of it, and I think they still just don't know much about it, but that's separate from this other issue, which really was more of a discussion about a program to help youth and vets.
Are they like sleeping on the street somewhere? Is there a location where they can be located?
Apparently there are encampments up behind Thomas Ford, Home Depot, Bell, Quality Inn. Russell has been working on right of access, so we have to have the property owner's authorization to go in there and, you know, do stuff with the camps. We can't just hop over and it becomes illegal. We have to have legal authorization from the property owner. So that's what we've been working on. So as soon as we get that, you know, we've already partnered with Chief Kilgore and Chief Richardson. We're going in there to check it out and assess the situation, but we have to have authorization from the property owners first.
So there's really, right now, there's no concrete strategy.
No.
Because like you say, you see people walking up and down the street, and like you say, you need to just keep having communication with each other until we could come to a solution for it. Anybody have a discussion with it? Okay. We enjoyed the tour. We enjoyed the tour, and like you say, it's two different worlds. It's two different worlds. But we can come together as a city, as a family, and do what we can to help mend the problem.
it's manageable. Like, I don't want people to feel discouraged or feel like, you know, there's no hope. The issues we have in Thomaston are very manageable. Thomaston is not a massive city, you know. Coming from a city that had 125,000 people in the county to Thomaston, you know, 11,000 people in the city right now, it's manageable, you know, but we, as you said, we have to come together. It's all about collaboration, engaging our community and working together. The city is in the state it's in right now because we as a community have allowed it to get to this state. And if we want to change it, the only people that can change it is us. We have to come together and change it.
Okay. Is there any more discussion? No more discussion, is that new business? New business is the Georgia City Week events.
Yeah, so I'll come up and talk about that real quick. I just kind of wanted to let you know about the events. So Georgia Cities Week is October 3rd through 9th. You know, this is my kind of kickoff to what I'm trying to do in the city. So we are kicking it off with painting fire hydrants. I don't know if you drove around town, but we've already primed the fire hydrants. Pallet Pals of Tuac, they volunteered and primed all of them. Thompson Hardware donated all the paint for that. So I requested proposals from local artists to paint the fire hydrants, you know, whatever you want to paint, obviously within reason. So I got 15 applications from our high school art department. I got a couple I'm going to pick up from the middle school in a couple days. My whole thing with the Georgia Cities Week is engage our youth, engage our community. The more people we can get involved, the better. So we'll be doing the fire hydrant paintings throughout the week. We're doing a youth art wall on the side of Baby Lanes, because what better place to have an art wall than on our children's consignment store in downtown Thomaston. So Fawn DeRosa is actually going to be painting kids art on there. We do a kids art contest through the primary and elementary school every year. So this year we'll pick a winner. We'll pick a drawing from each grade level, K through 5, and we will paint that on the side of Baby Lanes. Then every year, annually, we're going to add to that youth art wall on the side of Baby Lanes. If I were mayor, we always do the essay contest with the middle school. They have the picture in the paper, you know, cool. I want to, what we're doing, Tidal Wave and Heart and Soul are sponsoring we're printing banners. We're doing 4x4 banners. We're going to take snippets from their essays. I love Thomaston because of, if I were mayor, I would, and we're going to print them out on 4x4 banners, and we're going to hang them on the side of Tidal Wave's corporate headquarters in downtown Thomaston. You know, again, just a way to engage our youth, show them that they matter, their vision matters, how they feel about our community matters. We also it's homecoming week that week, so we have the homecoming game that Friday, homecoming parade that Thursday. Friday we are opening Lakeside Park, so that is Thomaston Mills, Lakeside. We're opening that up for passive use. And then that Saturday we're doing a kids fishing derby out there. So if you have kids, grandkids, you know, let them come out. It's catch and release bass, but catfish, brim, crappie, they can keep and take home with them. So we're excited. It's a lot of fun. And you know, I think the fire hydrants, people are going to really enjoy the fire hydrants, and that's something I hope to make an annual event where we, you know, can do all the fire hydrants in the DDA. This year we're just doing 21, but we could do an annual spring art festival where we incorporate the fire hydrant paintings, get artists from throughout the region to come here. You know, I really think it's an opportunity for us to kind of integrate culture and arts into our community.
Will the fire hydrants all have the same design or whatever, or will they'll be different?
Everyone will be different.
Okay.
You know, and it's really cool. We've got some really cool high school and middle school artists that have submitted some proposals. Obviously, TUAC has submitted. They're going to be doing like Van Gogh, Starry Starry Night on the fire hydrant in front of their building, and then the little village is going to have the courthouse painted in it, and the TUAC building painted in it. And again, you know, this is a way for us to just integrate art into the community, and then hopefully annually they'll change throughout the city.
The kids derby, is there a cost for that?
No.
The
Fall Line Bait and Tackle is sponsoring that, 12 and under.
So Taylor, let me ask you, any kids that come should have their own fishing equipment. There's not going to be anything.
So there will be some, like Fall Line said they can bring some minnows and worms and stuff like that, but yeah, they need to bring their own fishing equipment. I'm hoping to have some volunteers with Rotary and Lions clubs that might, you know, be able to help the kids do some fishing. You know, I'll be out there, have some volunteers out there. You know, anyone, we just want the kids out there.
And it'll be fishing from the bank.
Yes, fishing from the bank.
This Lakeside Park.
Yeah.
That's right in my community.
Yep.
Could you explain the layout and?
Yeah, so the entrance is going off of B Street. I'm sure you've seen where they've been building that parking lot over there. Right now, it's got a gravel lot. It's for 15 or 20 spaces starting out. The goal eventually is to pave that, and, but there's a 1.5 mile trail that goes around the entire lake that's paved. Again, we go back to art. It's a cool place. We could eventually do like a chalk contest out there around the lake. So Kyle with Public Works has gone out there. They've done the lot. We're getting some picnic tables and some benches and chairs out there. He's got a little area that he's dug out for a yoga platform, doing yoga over the lake. He's got some passive use like workout equipment on the trail, so some push-up bars, pull-up bars. It'll be open for walking, running, biking, passive use stuff.
Do that trail go all the way around the
It
lake?
goes all the way around. Yeah, I mean it's got the opportunity to be a really great community asset. You get out there on that lake and you would never think you're 5 minutes from downtown Thomaston.
You say the entrance is off of Beach
That's
Street?
right. So it's off of County Road. It's 800 County Road, but it kind of intersects with Beach Street right there.
And it looks good. And this probably will be a project that will get expanded over time. I have a lot of people asking about fishing in that lake. But right now, it's going to be more event-based so that we can control it. That 1.5 mile track around that will also be, I think, available to people to buy.
Yeah.
But you might be able to eventually have things like races cross-country type things, or even races like mini marathon or something like that, and that could take place there and begin to highlight our community.
Yeah, we've talked about potentially doing a triathlon out there because you have the 1.5 mile trail. You could bike, you could run, then you have a lake right there to do the water event, cross country events. Obviously, we have to have a good sized paved parking lot to host buses, host other schools. We'd want to have a restroom facility on site before we host something like that. But we have discussion of potentially doing a bass tournament out there. There's some big boys in that lake. So again, we want to find ways we can make a little money, but then reinvest that money into the lake and utilize that as a community asset. That's a great asset for us to have in that neighborhood. We want to make it shine.
So somebody's been stocking that lake for?
So I think it was stocked, and then obviously no one's been fishing in it, so they've just been reproducing. But if we do decide, we want to start utilizing that as our kids fishing derby, we can submit that information to DNR, and DNR will stock that for us every year if we do utilize that for kids fishing derbies.
Is this open every day and is there a time?
I have to get with Kyle. I'm working on a program, or not program, but like rules and procedures, regulations for the park that I'm going to have out between now and the end of the week. So it'll have all the dates, the times, uses, what's prohibited, all that information. I'll get that over to you as soon as I finish it.
Is that going to be up before the park officially
Oh, most
opens
definitely.
up?
I'm gonna have it done this week.
Okay.
Yeah,
And it'll probably be on the city website.
I'll make sure it's posted on the city website.
Is the one on 19 North, is that one still open?
Yes,
It is.
yes. And DNR is scheduled to fill that pond, both of those ponds, with fish in January. It's just with COVID, they weren't stocked. So there's been a little, and with our seniors still utilizing that to catch fish, they're starting to get through them. And I didn't want to have kids out there trying to catch fish and not catch anything. That'd break my heart for the kids.
Yeah.
So I'd rather have it at the lakeside and know that they gonna catch something.
Would it be light? Would lights be out there?
Eventually, yeah. Our goal, but it's gonna be during the day. It's gonna be that morning, the derby. But eventually, yeah, we do have to have power at the facilities.
It look good.
It's gonna be cool. It's gonna be cool. And I'm excited for the community to really enjoy it. Obviously, long term, I would love to eventually have a trail system in place where we connect that park over Greatest Generation, and then back down to the city. That'd be a really cool asset as well. But yeah, so let people know. One other thing, the downtown walking tours. We'd love to have you participate in the downtown walking tours. Doing one October 4th, October 6th, and October 8th. We'll start at the archives, and we'll do a tour of St. Michael's right here on the corner. The church was built in 1889. Then we'll walk around the square. We'll do a quick sneak peek of the Ritz Theater that's soon to be reopened, and then we'll finish up over there at Sabros and Slices. So on Monday and Friday, that is at 11 a.m. On Wednesday, we're doing an evening one, so it's 6 p.m. Registration, all this information is on the City of Thomaston Main Street webpage, and you can register there. And like I said, I think it'll be a lot of fun. Jameson Graham, our archives director, is going to be leading that and fielding some questions and letting people know, this used to be this used to be this. She's got some cool photos of some history of what downtown used to look like. And again, my whole thing, engage the community, and share the history, of what this town once was, and then talk about the vision of the future.
That was represented to us from the state when they brought that tourism in here.
Mm-hmm.
They recommend that we get this
Downtown walking tours. And I really think as we got to clean up downtown. That's something we're working on in our master plan that we just have presented to the council. We really hit on cleaning up downtown, but that's something I want to do. As we do, make the changes in downtown, have a little walking tour that we can push out. Even if it's something that someone can just download on their phone, that'll show the businesses, show the restaurants, show any kind of murals we have in downtown. They can click on a building and learn about the building's history, what it once was, what it is now. I would love to eventually have something like that in place. Cool. If you have any questions, any concerns, y'all give me a call, email me.
Any more discussion?
Good.
Okay, no more new business, any more new business? Schedule next week.
I would like to suggest maybe around the same time next month, so October 25th is a Monday, if this time still works good for you guys, 1 p.m. And of course, you don't have to say yay or nay now. You guys can email me or give me a call and let me know if you have a conflict or if that works.
To the city council, when will we have the other two spaces?
So one spot is for Ryan Tucker's district and the other is for Don Greathouse's district.
So are they going to make appointments?
I've reached out to them, so they are aware of it. And I think that they're looking around, but I just don't think they've had too much interest as of now. But they are aware and they are looking to make an
But
appointment.
very little interest, you said. They really have interest in doing it.
I feel that this committee is a good place to have a conversation about our community and our growth. And like I say, I really prefer that all 4 districts, be in the conversation, along with the Mayor Pro Tem district. And like I say, there's a lot of things that we can get done, but it's got to be pretty slow with no participation.
And I would ask Mr. Greathehouse and Mr. Tucker if they intend to make an appointment to reappoint someone to this board.
I'll reach out to them again and
Okay, all right.
And find out.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
About that.
Any more discussion? Can I have a motion to end?
Move that we adjourn to next meeting time.
I second.
Have been motion and second that we adjourn to our next meeting time. Are you ready for voting? All in favor, by show of hands. All opposed?
thank you guys.
Thanks, sir.
It was a little longer than 15 minutes.
That's not why I talk. I'm sorry.
He was a lifesaver.
That was the best part.
I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yeah, my pleasure. And I'll reach out to them and keep you guys updated on any new appointments and nominations, okay?
All right.
Still another peppermint.
Oh, please do.
I'll talk to Miss Brown last week.
All right, good.
Figure out what she wanted to do.